If you've ever looked into Synastry and you've wondered if somebody is romantically attracted to you, then what you need to look at is Venus and the Moon. So here we're talking about romantic attraction. So it means somebody feeling tender towards you, idealizing you, wanting to hold your hand, wanting to cuddle you. It's like romantic feelings, different than sexual attraction, which is Mars. And you can check my sexiest synastry aspects for this kind of energy. But here we're talking more of like a romantic, soft, tender vibe, as well as the feeling of having a soulmate connection with somebody. So I'm going to start with the most tender aspect I've ever observed, which is Venus conjunct Moon. And this works both ways, like Moon conjunct Venus, Venus conjunct Moon. If somebody has that, usually those two people are like so sweet together. They're like super tender and always like caring about each other and being super sweet, like two lovebirds. It just gives this emotion that the other person is like something so cute, something so tender, something so beautiful that you want to take care of and yeah, always want to cherish. Then the next powerful thing in synastry is a Venus conjunction. And a Venus conjunction doesn't talk so much anymore about this tenderness. That's the energy of the moon that brings this kind of softness and tenderness together with Venus. But Venus conjunctions are more about the way we love. So when somebody has a Venus in Gemini, the way they love is very expressive verbally. So they need a lot of verbal confirmation for their love. And they also express it very much verbally. So when two people have a Venus conjunction, means that there is just a natural flow of understanding how the other person wants to be loved. And it's very important in relationships to love the same way, like your partner does. Because many times people love each other, but they don't understand how to make each other feel loved. And that's the big difference. And with the Venus conjunction, that just falls to the side because the understanding of love is the same, and your partner naturally feels loved by you just being yourself. And also when it comes to like ideas of how relationships should function, there's also just a natural congruence and a natural understanding. Now, the next conjunction that is very powerful, if not one of the most powerful ones I see, is a moon conjunction. And since the moon moves very, very quickly, this conjunction needs to be tight. I would say maximum within 5 degrees. This for me is the soulmate conjunction, the soulmate aspect. When people have a moon conjunction, there is just this very, very intrinsic feeling of being at home with that person. It's like I arrived. I'm there. My soul can relax in your arms. It's very powerful and also very tender, like in terms of, being extremely caring for each other, because the moon is also the mothering aspect, the family aspect. So there's a lot of caring for each other and for each other's good and best interest in this aspect. Later on, if we look into evolutionary astrology, the moon also symbolizes past lives. So a moon conjunction kind of symbolizes souls that have been traveling together through many lives, as many different dynamics, maybe as family, maybe as friends, but it's like souls that have a deep knowing of each other. Moon conjunction, there's something like an instant recognizing of each other and just, yeah, feeling very much at ease and at home and comfortable with the other person. Now, aspects that work only one way. That is Jupiter on Venus. So if you have somebody's Jupiter on your Venus, Jupiter is like the biggest planet out there. It makes everything feel huge, right? So you will feel like this is the love of your life. This is like the big love. In synastry, it works, like you can feel this, but obviously you can feel it towards many people. But when you look at directions, for example, if you look at solar arc directions as a prognosis method, the moment when Jupiter crosses your Venus is usually the moment in your life when you're going to find the big love. But yeah, back to synastry. Jupiter conjuncting your Venus will make you feel like that person is definitely at least one of your big loves. The other way around, it doesn't really work. Like, for example, if your Venus is conjuncting somebody's Jupiter, because again, Jupiter is a much bigger and stronger energy, so Venus is kind of not enough to move it. Then we have Saturn conjuncting Venus, and Saturn in a relation with Venus actually works out quite well. It shows longevity and holding on to something, holding on to love. So if somebody's Saturn is conjuncting your Venus, you will not want to let go of that person. Feel like there is a really strong foundation, a really strong base for the relationship, and you will want to keep it going. So when it comes to Mars, for example, Saturn conjuncting Mars is a pretty negative aspect because it dims and inhibits our sexual energy if somebody's Saturn is conjuncting our Mars. But with Venus, it gives a very different effect. At least from my experience. If you read textbooks, they might say something different, but experientially, I can say that like a Saturn conjuncting Venus aspect is a really good significator of longevity of the relationship, because something needs to keep the relationship going, needs to hold it in the 3D. And that's what Saturn does. Now, when it comes to synastry, I purposefully do not mention the transcendental planets like Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus, because they move way too slow to be considered in synastry. Because if you say, oh, yeah, I have Pluto, somebody's Pluto conjuncting my Venus, my answer would be yes. But you have like 5 years worth of people on the planet whose Pluto is conjuncting your Venus. It's just that transcendental planets move way too slowly to give us actual real information about a connection between two individuals, okay? So the furthest I would go with synastry is Saturn. Now, when it comes to points in the chart, there is also some very powerful conjunctions in synastry, which are mainly considering the nodes of the moon and the ascendant. So when we have somebody's Venus on our south node, we can say with pretty high security that this person has been a lover to us previously, or at least that we have been in love with them. The rest of the chart would tell us what happened to that love story in the past life, if it ever happened or not. But for sure, we have felt like a love towards that person that is not only friendship or family, but like a romantic kind of love towards that person already before. And at first meeting, we recognize them as lovers. Our love for them is reignited, and we try to pursue the romantic connection with them. As it is the south node, this energy tends to dissipate with time, so we tend to be very, very much into them, feel very drawn to establishing a romantic connection with them in the beginning, and with time it starts fading out. With somebody's Venus on our north node, that might be very different, so we might actually become lovers and stay lovers for the rest of this life with them, because if it's on the north node, it will keep perpetuating itself like until the end of this cycle called life. So if somebody's Venus is on your north node, your attraction towards that person will probably grow, or at least be reignited every time you see them or every time you get in touch. It's gonna stay. No matter if you manage to make the relationship work or not, the romantic attraction will continue growing throughout life. And finally, if somebody's Venus is on your ascendant, you will find that person extremely beautiful, like so beautiful, like aesthetically pleasing, like a wonderful painting in a museum you just don't want to stop looking at. And yeah, you will obviously be very drawn to pursue that romantic connection with them too. So these three aspects are one-way aspects as well, so they don't work the other way around. For example, if somebody's Venus falls on your ascendant, only you will feel that this person is the personification of beauty for you. They will not feel it the other way around, unless your Venus also falls on their ascendant, and the same goes for the nodes. So this doesn't give us an insight into the mutual connection, only one-way connection. The only things that are showing mutual feelings are the Venus-Moon conjunction and the Venus conjunction and the Moon conjunction between each other. So these two together, so basically the romantic and soulmate attractions with Venus and Moon and the sexual attractions with Mars, combined give us like a more complete picture of how this relationship will and should work out. So if you want to know exactly like if it's just going to be a romantic or also a sexual connection, then also check out the video about the Mars aspects in Synastry, because a romantic attraction can exist without a sexual connection and vice versa. Like somebody who could want to just have fun with you and feel no romantic feelings of caring for you. So you want to have both in a very functioning relationship, ideally. Again, let me know about your experiences if you checked out some of these aspects for yourself and your crush or your partner, and I'm curious to hear feedback. See you next time!